First, hip-hop culture has changed society over the decades. It's become a powerful medium that uses music, dance, and art. Some educators are harnessing the influence of hip-hop and using it to teach social justice on campus.
They don't like me, but they know they can't deny me. Man, I'm a real gangster, and you know right where to find me.
From a club stage to a college classroom in Medford.
We're talking about what different artists are employing in marketing.
Professor D1 is teaching his students at Tufts University about the intersection of hip-hop and social change. He's breaking down the process of making the music and selling the songs.
What is a song? What is music without that music being marketed, right?
Using music as a force of activism, how the words and beats become the soundtracks of social movements.
Well, hip-hop is a powerful teaching tool. It's one of the most powerful teaching tools on planet Earth because there's so much information packed inside of this rhythmic music that is often repetitious and often has it has the ability to be sticky because it rhymes and it gets stuck into your brain.
Generations of hip-hop artists have used that signature sticky beat to comment on society as they see it. Feel it and experience it. Some of the most popular artists over the decades have glorified violence, monetized misogyny, and normalized drug culture.
Bounce straight till it hit the flow and let the 6-4 get low, get low.
Professor D1 describes the adaptation of gangsta rap as a lifestyle, as a net negative for society, one that has had intensely personal consequences.
I've had to be a pallbearer at my best friend's funeral, and I felt like such a hypocrite when I got in my car after the funeral, and I realized that the music that I was listening to in my car was literally verbatim the soundtrack to what had just happened to my best friend.
David Augustine had just graduated from college in Louisiana. The death of his best friend was a turning point in his life and career.
I don't want to contribute to the music that is literally like funneling people into the graveyard and into the prison system. I don't want to do that. Now I can talk about those same topics, but I can narrate them without glorifying them. It's not that I hate the industry. I don't hate hip-hop. I hate hypocritical hop, you know? So I take things that have been used for negative and now I flip them and turn them for something good.
What does it mean to get to the top? Did you send a message or just make a bop?
It is what his students are learning and discovering as they write their own lyrics and narrate the stories of how they see the world, crafting solutions and delivering their messages through rap.
And this is stuff you see inside the black community that's wrong and kind of a game plan for moving forward.
Yes.
Fire. All right, here we are, brother.
Now close your eyes and you'll see black teen with a dream, 15, 16.
Learning how to use hip-hop and rap music, which is a super loud voice for black people, just to spread positive change and to spread messages that lift us up instead of tearing us apart.
I think I'm gonna walk away, especially with like a new idea of what hip hop can be, not necessarily as like a form of entertainment, but a form of, you know, social change, way you can impact things outside of more than just listening to what is catchy.
So this is gonna be a special night.
The class ends with an album drop. It's called Aya and the Barnum Boys, Ripple Effect, and a drop party, flipping the script of what hip hop can be.
Never down, always up, yeah, you know what's up. Give me something I can trust, no, that's not enough. I won't settle if it's bluff, gotta get a dub.
The students take the stage and perform their poetry to a beat, rapping about the emotional toll of the wildfires in L.A.
Grew up in L.A. where the sun never sets, but the smoke in the air has got me taking deep breaths. We've been through the storm, yeah, we've been through the fire, but together as one, we don't ever tire.
A soundtrack of the impact of climate change.
I got one message for one world. The world is shifting, got it snowing in May. Seasons out of sync, like the rhythm's gone astray. Skies are heavy, we in a fragile state. We're dancing on the edge, but the music's starting to fade.
Separating hip-hop from the media, money, and commercialization.
Hey, you know they want to be famous, sellouts, faded, flashing lights entertainment, but after the different exchanges, education and savings.
And focusing on the original intent, on societal commentary and social change.
Coming from a brother, a son, a soulful poet, an honest king who sees things and shows it, a teacher, a student, I never lose focus. Coming from a place deep inside where nothing can hide. Emotions flowing, touched by the sea tide. I think I'm ready to let them cry.
And maybe transforming the genre for a new generation.
What's gangster is getting an education. What's gangster is using your gifts and talents to make this world a better place. That's gangster. What's gangster is fighting through the hard times that you go through and understanding that these are temporary and I don't have to compromise my morals, values, and principles just because I'm going through something in the moment. When you persevere, that's gangster.
Wow. D1's next album, called Hypocritical Hop, drops next month. And joining me now here in the studio is Boston native Paul Willis. He's a hip-hop and spoken word artist who also uses the genre as a teaching tool. Welcome to Cityline. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much.
So your work coincides with Professor D1's class, and here you are together. We have some images of you at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. But the focus of your latest project is leadership. This past spring, you launched a new multi-platform project. So explain how it works.
Karen, this is the new ABCs of rap. It's an album, a book, and a curriculum teaching leadership development using hip hop as a tool to connect those lessons.
I'm going to hold up. Keep talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it started with some essential questions. Where are the values in our culture? We see what mainstream and the commercialization of hip hop has given us, and it's not a lot of good. You know, you heard that from D1. But at a local level and at an individual level, there's this tool for transformation and for change, and it's something I've seen in my own life and something I've seen help transform so many other people's lives.
So talk about how hip hop can be used as a tool for learning and cultivating leadership.
Yeah, so I'll start with these values. So when we think about leadership values, authenticity, self-expression, inclusivity, empowerment, resilience, adaptability, evolution, community building. Those are all really good things for people to value, also for our communities to value as well. And so when we think about how do we learn those things? Who teaches us? And so much of what's taught to our youth today is taught through art. Right? They see it on social media, they hear it in the music, they see it in movies, the visual art that's in their communities. That's how they know and understand kind of what their communities value, what their parents
talk about the visual. You know, you talk about they see it, but what does leadership look like?
Yeah, leadership for some people looks like the corporate executive in the corner office. It looks like the politician. For me, leadership looked like my grandmother, who was a nurse and a minister who gave back to the community. It looked like my teachers, who were mentors and went above and beyond to, you know, take me on visits for high school and college campuses. It looked like bodega owners who kept the tabs open so that folks could get what they need to feed their families. You know, leadership looks like a lot of different things. It's not just the suit and tie.
That's a very important point. Very important point.
Yeah. And it's not to knock those folks. Those people play a really important role in our society. But I think that when we open up our idea of what leadership looks like and how it's presented and how it's taught, then it allows so many more people to step into leadership roles and to recognize the value right where they are.
Now, your curriculum is already being put into practice. How are students engaging with the program?
So we have been able to pilot the program at Beat the Odds. They're a creative youth development organization, and they work with kids who are 14 and 24 years old with a focus on mental health development and awareness through the arts. And so through that program, students, because we had access to studios, photography, video work, they were able to create music, videos, and their own art, and we were able to do a friends and family showcase where they had to chance to kind of showcase, you know, what they created through these lessons.
Now we want to listen to some of the music from the album that you recently performed at the Poets Cauldron in Worcester. Let's listen to it.
If you saw the world rise up for black lives, that movement was led by black mothers and wives. Ain't no surprise when you see a queen doing the thing. We gotta own our own stories like the woman king.
Now, as you were choosing your career path, what advice did you receive?
I had a lot of folks who tried to tell me that what you're doing as an artist and then what you're doing in education and nonprofit spaces, there's not a bridge there. But the more I would go out to open mics and connect in community, the more I would do shows, people heard what I was talking about in the music, and then they wanted to come and support the causes that I was talking about. So they showed up for my students, they provided money for field trips, winter jackets for when it was cold, food, and food pantries.
And you are on your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're on your way to California to start your book tour after this. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Paul Willis, thanks for joining us today. Everybody, make sure you get some of this good information.